Hello, everybody. You have David Abrams here, along with Los Silva, the founder of, I already forgot what the hell you're the founder of.
The
Ambitious
collective,
50 Things.
ambitious growth hacker TV. We've done a lot of stuff through the years.
Done a lot of stuff. And honestly, I actually was a partner with Los in a company called Systemizely, which was actually one of my other companies now that I still run. We actually founded that together a couple years ago. So Los is a really, really good friend of mine, someone I'm super excited to have on this call. Michael, you just asked, is this being recorded? As with any Demio webinar, as soon as we start, we do record automatically. But guys, this is really exciting. This is the first Demio Discover call. As you can see, I have a little Demio Discover like logo picture thingy up there. But I wanted to invite everyone out for just kind of a fun, interactive call. Wanted to speak with all of you guys. This is really going to be open-ended. The first half of this is really going to be story-driven. I want this to be a time where we can all learn from amazing entrepreneurs, amazing founders, marketers. We can get some insight on the stories to how they got to where they are, how they built their businesses. The journey is so crazy for each of us as entrepreneurs, and I just think it's such an amazing way to learn. We'll also go into some marketing advice from Los. He has a really amazing agency. They do some amazing stuff with funnels and marketing and advertising. And so I would love to have you guys learn. In the second half of this show, we're going to do all live Q&A. So you guys, I see everyone posting in chat. I'm going to talk to you in just a second here. But make sure you guys bring the Q&A, bring the energy. We'll do this each week. So we'd love to make sure that we help you guys as much as possible. And just thank you all so much for coming. So, Los, first of all, before I even go further, do you want to just do a brief introduction about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Los Silva, guys. I've been doing I've basically done everything there is as far as like something to sell online. I've done e-commerce, I've done eBay, I've done Amazon, I've done Shopify, I've sold on webinars, I've sold on regular stuff. I've had an agency, I have an agency. We've sold digital products, we've had product launches, and in the past 10 years, I've kind of learned all that and worked through it. And now currently we own two things. One of them is an agency that focuses on scaling companies, mostly working with higher level B2B companies that are doing 5 million plus. And then we have a publishing brand that publishes people in health, fitness, and also in the internet marketing education space.
Man, that's awesome. You have your hands in a lot of things, and you're really, really good at handling all these different projects. And I'd also say one of your best skill sets for everyone here, your best skill sets is actually, I would say, networking, deal making, leveraging stuff. And I think that's something that you've been able to do to build all these different brands, to make these publishing areas, to bring in the right people. So I would say for the people that are on the call, maybe bring questions that you have about any of that stuff from marketing, sales, networking, leverage, because Los is so freaking good at that stuff. And we'll get into your story here in just a second. But I first want to address everyone on this call because this is super interactive, guys. I just want to go through, say hello to everyone: Francesco, Javier, Karen, Mary, Vivienne, Michael, John. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out. First of all, I just want to know, where are you guys kind of in your businesses right now? When it comes to marketing and sales, I guess just from the audience perspective, are you guys really getting into just launching your first webinars? Are you looking to scale your marketing? Are you just kind of getting going in your business? Like, where would you say you are on this transition, on this journey of your own? I would just love to hear that.
Dang.
Michael has done 4,000 webinars. That is a lot of webinars. Carol from Corpus Christi, Texas, said she's just getting going. It's good to know. Guys, the more interaction we get in here, the better this content will be. We'll really make this super customized for you guys. Just launching my first webinars for MMO products 2 weeks ago. Yeah, got to get more comfortable. Greg, I think for anyone doing webinars, getting comfortable is a big thing. Like, it's one of those things you just got to get comfortable with. Just starting out, just getting going on webinars.
A lot of people are just getting started.
Yeah, just getting started. Cool. Well, for those of you guys that probably have done some webinars before, But Demio is great. Been doing it for a while. Thank you. Just starting. Did a few webinars. Okay, so we have some people that have done webinars, but it sounds like most of you guys are just starting. So this is kind of cool because what we'll do with the story is we'll kind of base it around like how you got going, and maybe even why. Maybe you can even base it around why you got into webinars. And then when we get to the marketing and sales section, maybe what you're seeing for someone just getting started with webinars would be kind of cool.
Yeah. So I got started online selling stuff on eBay. I was actually selling Bose video speakers a long time ago, almost 10, 12 years ago. And it was going really, really well. We were having success. I was actually at one point one of the largest distributors of Bose in the US. I beat Best Buy and stuff like that. So like we were crushing it, but I didn't know what I was doing because I was super young. And so kind of fast forward, there were some changes on eBay, and rather than like think through it, I was like, oh, that's over. And I just actually started a brick and mortar like electronic business selling all the stuff that I became a distributor for. That lasted a few years. We had a lot of success with that. But then in 2008, the housing market bombed, and I was doing luxury homes. So luxury interiors and all that kind of stuff. There was no money for any of that. And so effectively, I had to start everything from scratch. I didn't know what to do. I moved into this super tiny apartment. I had just got married. I was like next level broke, like I remember thinking every day, like, all right, I got to make like $2,600 and then I can go to my parents' house and get food, because I couldn't even like imagine like buying food. I was like, damn, that would be like another like $500-600 a month. Like I couldn't even think past exactly what I needed to make that month to like
you were like survival mode.
100%. And like that's all I got to do. And if I do that, like we'll be able to eat at someone's house, like my parents or her parents or whatever, right?
Just to stop you there, let me ask, like, when you're in the mindset of like you were making sales, you felt like kind of on top of the world, probably ego was going up a little bit, you felt good about stuff, and then you hit this like rough point. Like, what was your mindset like? I mean, you must have been shaken in so many ways.
Well, honestly, man, I felt like I was a piece of garbage, and like I didn't know what to do, and no one would hire me. Like I went looking for a job, or I was like, I'll do anything. I couldn't even get hired as a waiter because I just didn't have experience in the world. If you own your own business, it's not like an experience. They're just like, oh yeah, like it doesn't count for much. And so I didn't really have an opportunity to work anywhere else. So I talked with my wife and I bought a course. I don't remember whose course I bought, but I bought a course with a borrowed $100. That I do remember. I asked my dad for $100 and he was like, why? I was like, there's this course I gotta like, I think it's going to help me. And it showed you how to like do social media and stuff like that. And honestly, it was terrible. And I was just thinking in my head, like, I'm putting in more time on like LinkedIn and all these things by myself. I think I can figure it out. So I kind of just dug in there. And then I ended up having a client come out of it, and she needed help with something called a webinar. This was like 2008, right? And like I helped her on like Facebook, grow a Facebook page, and like we drove some of those people that were in Facebook pages and those groups into a presentation. This was my first time ever having to do a webinar. It ended up, she ended up paying me like pretty good. Literally, that's the only thing that I made money on that year. It was a $40,000 project, but that's it. Like that's all. Like it sounds great, but like then nothing else happened that year. I just made that.
Let me ask you, when you ran that webinar, for a lot of people because they're just starting, and this was your first time ever doing it, like were you nervous getting on? Like were you like did you have any idea what was going to happen?
I had never made a webinar. Like I didn't know what to do. I just kind of like went through all her content and things like that, and I created a presentation on slides. Right? Like, I don't know if it was good. Honestly, now looking back, I'm like, it's probably terrible. But it made money because she had such a big, like, thriving list and stuff like that, which I didn't know anything about that either. And so once I started doing that, I was like, all right, cool. Now I can use this. And I started doing that a little bit more with people using LinkedIn, right? So fast forward a little bit. I started going to conferences and just Googling like what conferences to go to and stuff like that. And I had somebody kind of talk to me about, why don't we launch a product on LinkedIn? And I was like, I don't know what that means, but I'm down. And in this hotel room, right? Like they're like, we go to this hotel room, there's like 10 people there. This dude's like, hey man, let's mail for my buddy's product. We're going to pre-sell it. It's on LinkedIn. And like, they send some emails. I still don't know what's going on. I'm like, whatever you guys say. And by the end of the, like 2 days later, it made $16,000. And I got like 8 of that. And I was like how, what just happened? How do I like live with you to do more of this? Right. Yeah. And so I just kind of got hooked on like making products and figuring out how to do that stuff. Started getting deeper into that world. And a lot of that started becoming like, all right, well, the best way to make money then, and honestly still now, was with webinars, right? It's just telling a story, giving a good presentation, getting someone, educating someone, and passing that knowledge through to make them understand like where they are, where they need to be, and how they can get there. And I just kind of became good at that because I have a natural talent for like sales and stuff like that. I just can get on a webinar, tell stories. A lot of times I don't even make slides. I just talk and kind of like go interactive at this point.
You're saying that for you, like the webinars are mostly the communication, just like telling stories and talking.
Too many people try to stress the like, oh, we've got to get this pattern and pattern interrupt and all this stuff. Like really it's targeting. Are you targeting the people that actually want to buy your stuff and need this, right? Too many people are focused on like a cost per registration or like getting somebody, whatever. I don't care what I pay. If it's the right person, I'm going to make money on the back of this offer because it's the right targeted person with the right message. I'm helping them. It's going to create success. I'm going to make money, right? So like we have some webinars that we run for people. We're paying $12 at registration, which is honestly absurd. If
like 3 or 4 times normal.
Yeah, you know, like, but it doesn't matter because we're getting more conversions at that more expensive price point. And so we're happy to do that instead of getting leads at like $5 for some things and being able to brag about it, but like having no actual conversions and no sales because it's the wrong target. They're not educated enough and it's just not who is supposed to buy your stuff. So
the customer avatar becomes super important for you.
It's
like
all,
that becomes like the key. It's all about the avatar.
Yeah, I mean, like we have other stuff where we're taking people to application. We're paying $150 an application, and it doesn't matter, right? Because like we're selling $5,000, $6,000, sometimes $10,000 things, and it's just not an issue, you know?
Right. Well, I just want to say, like, just listening to the story, a couple of things that really stand out for me that I want everyone to just kind of take away from Los's story is one, you know, he was doing well, kind of went to this big drop, like this mental, like, you know, with everything that happened to him, with all the problems, he didn't give up. I mean, he tried to get a job. He had no other options but to succeed. And it's like sometimes when we have no other options but to move forward, that's when we're the most resilient and resourceful. And I know that there's been times in my own entrepreneurial journey where it's like I had to earn a certain amount of money that month. And it's like, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll put in however much amount of work and I'll just dig deep and I'm going to do it. And I've always made that. So like, one is we need to figure out internally about ourselves, like how do we get to that mindset, like whatever it takes to earn a certain amount. And having a goal of a certain amount, I think is always really good. You kind of talked about that. Mm-hmm. The other thing it sounds like is, and I just know this about you, is that there are a lot of unseen opportunities. And sometimes when, you know, we don't know how to do something, we're not comfortable doing that. So we say, no, we don't want to do it. But the truth is, it sounded like you said yes to like pretty much every opportunity. You didn't really know how to do any of these things, but you said yes. And then you learned it once you got it.
Yeah.
You took the contracts, you got them done, and you actually learned how to do it. And now you built your entire business from doing that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, you know, I've noticed, and even more recently, right? Like I started a few of the businesses that I have now, like extremely recently, about a year ago. Some other stuff happened and I kind of had to start again from scratch and I didn't know what to do. I took a month off and kind of like started reflecting, like, what do I want to do? Where do I want to be? What industry do I want to serve? And I kind of went back to something that you and I used to do together, which is consulting and kind of agency work. You know, and once I found the right track, the right people that I wanted to serve, the right offers that I could help people with, everything just took off. Within 3 months, that business was doing 7 figures and it's on its way to do multiple 7 figures this year. And from there, I was able to build out a process and a system with the people that work in this organization and leverage that to build the publishing side of stuff that we do now as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's really amazing to hear, like, for those of you guys who probably have been on one of my webinars when I talk about, you know, the most important step for webinar being the avatar, I think you're really doing a good job of talking about that. Just, it doesn't really matter how much it costs to bring someone in. It doesn't really matter even how many attendees you necessarily have on. If you're giving the right message to the right person and you're doing offers that are valuable to them and that you like we were actually having this conversation before we even got on live here, which was, people going down a path they think is right for them. Like they'll create a product or create a service. They're like, this sounds cool. This is going to be fun. But they don't really take the time to think internally, am I going to have passion with this? Am I going to enjoy this? Because the thing is that for all of us as entrepreneurs on our journey, there's going to be a lot of tough times. Like even with Demio, guys, I can't tell you how hard this journey has been. And for us, it was the mental perseverance really came from the fact that we're just passionate and we want to create the best webinar platform out there. So it kind of pushes you through there. So it sounds like you kind of, by reflecting on that, kind of figured out what do you like to do? Where can you use your skill sets? Where do you want to help people?
So one of the biggest things, this might take a left turn over into personal development, but it's something that actually helps and works. And I honestly stopped last year giving a shit about other people, and not in a I don't care about you way, but I don't care about what you're doing, what you're up to. It got to a point, particularly for me, that I was going to conferences just to see how much you were making so I could base that upon how much we were making and see what someone else who was making more than us was doing so we could go catch up to that. I honestly didn't you get lost, right? Yeah. And now I don't care if someone's doing $100 million and someone's doing 0 and someone's doing 5. It's great for everyone. It does not affect me. I'm focused on what I need to do, how I want to focus on doing my things, spending my time and operating on my stuff. And doing that helps a ton. Too many times, we're bombarded with ads. We're bombarded on stuff in social of people having success and all this stuff. And you're just oh, well, I got to be like Joe. I got to be like Mike. I got to be like Timmy. And you really don't. You just got to be like you. You have to kind of take that step back and be why am I doing this? Am I doing this because I'm pretty sure I just need to make more money, or what am I making money for? What am I trying to build this brand for, or this thing for? Am I trying to help anybody? What is this all about? You know what I mean? For me personally, taking that step back last year and kind of being this is what I want to do. I transparently, there's all these people that are oh, I want to help change the world and help all these people. I don't want to do any of that, to be honest with you. I have 10 core employees here. I want to make all of them within the next few years have a multiple 6-figure earnings, and they can go out and help more people and put them in managerial and ownership position of stuff. That's what I want to do. I'm not going to help 1 million people. I'm not going to donate $1 trillion. I'm just going to help them, and that makes me happy. But I know that now, and I'm cool with it. Before, I almost feel like you had to be fake because everyone else is talking all this crap that they don't mean.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. It becomes there's a comparison complex, and then it's also you start creating an internal drive or mission that's not really built for you or what you want. And you're right. I mean, it does take a little bit of a turn into personal development, but I think anyone that's building a business, there's so much personal development. 99% of this stuff is personal development. It's all mental, man. It's so crazy. When I first got started, people would say, oh, business is 90% mental, 10% the actual business practices. In my head, I'd be that's total BS. That's stupid. And I would kind of push it off. And now a lot of the books that I read, here's a book, I'm reading a book a week, right? The book I'm reading right now, The Confidence Gap. I read personal development stuff because I realize and recognize that most of what I need to do is in the mental side. I need to upgrade that mental side. And a lot of what we do has to do with our passion, our mission, what we're actually doing this for, our why behind the scenes. Because, man, it's going to get tough at some point. So you're going to have, someone in here said they did a webinar and it bombed, right? You're going to have that day. And there's so many people that you do a webinar and it bombs, and the next day you're I give up. I got donuts at my webinar last night. I must suck. The webinar sucks. My offer sucks. Instead of going back and saying, did I have the right person on? Did I do the right advertising? What do I need to change in my offer? Is it irresistible enough? Was I talking too much? Was there enough interaction? The actual tangible things that you can do to then be a better business person. But the first thing that we do is inflect a lot of that stuff. So it becomes hard there.
So 2 things with that is in the publishing side of stuff that we have, with a lot of people, they're afraid. They're oh, I want to wait. They're trying to get everything perfect. We let them know, listen, there's a 100% chance or a 90% chance we're going to launch this. It's going to bomb. So like, just be ready. I don't even care what it looks like right now. Let's just throw it up and let's start getting data. Let's start seeing what people really think about this. Because you could think like, oh, I made this thing. It's an 8-figure business. It's incredible. You don't even have a sale. I've literally talked to people, because we have like an application if you want to work with us on publishing, that have hit me up with like, oh, I've got this huge social following. I got this 8-figure business idea, blah, 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 but I haven't released it in 2 years because it's like so special. Like, it's not special. At the end of the day, the whole world is basically a commodity. It's how you like create value on what you do that makes it special. But no one even knows that unless you toss it out. So you've got to let your stuff go, see what happens, have it suck. It's totally fine if it sucks, but you've got to be willing to be okay with fixing it and fixing it and fixing it to making it something that's actually successful.
Mm-hmm. That is such a good point. So it's like the constant reiteration and learning and just realizing that, like, and I'm a big proponent of this, but it's like everything in your entrepreneurial journey is a step. Like each step that you take is a little bit towards your goal, right? So like you might fail, but each failure is like, okay, I'm gonna learn. You know, each new product is like, okay, this product did okay, the next product's gonna be better, because you're just learning from each thing. You know, you're building steps. So just kind of jumping back to your story, and I guess coming back to our little outline of how this is going to work for Demio Discover, what would you say from your story, from learning all this, is one piece of advice that you would give yourself early on when just starting your business?
I would make more content. So that's the number one thing that I've seen. As I've grown in the industry, and every industry really has grown right now, content is the most important thing out there. Right? Like the first thing I said to you when we were going to do this, I was like, dude, let's do it weekly because I got to make more content. Like if I could have made 10 times the content 10 years ago, I don't even know where I'd be. It'd be ridiculous. But I had fear, or I was again, like listening to other people, and I didn't do that. And so the number one thing that I would do now, and something that we're super, super focused on now to prove that it is what I would say to myself, is content creation and just doing more to give more to people, right? Going back, turning it into webinars for a second, like too many people when they're trying to do a webinar want like this immediate, I put X amount of money, this webinar should convert, I should get my money back. What we're starting to do is we're driving traffic and like not selling anything for like a week and just giving people stuff, and then being like, hey, there's a training. And then that alone crushes conversions. And I know that no one else is going to do that because they're terrified of money. Like they need to get their money back, or they need to get something back like immediately. And we don't. So we're essentially beating the majority of people in those industries.
So like one of the things is ROR, like return on relationships. So you guys are like, you're putting money in to build relationships and knowing that you'll make money down the road. You're not looking for a short-term return. You're playing the long game.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think that's a great piece of advice for all of you guys. And what would you say one marketing or sales system that you're doing right now that's working for you, that, you know, maybe a piece of advice or something that people could to take into their business right now? I guess it's content, like you said.
Yeah, content in this, just being strategic about building out sequences, right? And I don't mean this like super advanced, like crazy, like if you take this action, you go here. If you take action here, something else happens. Just like, I want to tell you a story, and that can be through a webinar, or that can be through 3 emails or 3 videos. It doesn't matter, but I want to tell you a story. The odds are you don't know me, and you don't know whatever you're selling or whatever it is. So I kind of first off want to be like, hey, this is an indoctrination. This is what I have. This is who I'm about. This is what I don't do. Here's a free gift. And then second thing, just like, hey, this is stuff I read. Just like getting to know me, or getting to know the avatar or the customer that we're working with. And then after, like, you kind of feel like you have an engaged relationship with me, maybe presenting an offer, and maybe sometimes not even doing that, right? For a while, that's how you're going to get. I'd rather have 10,000 people that like love me and I know they're going to like buy whenever I say something, than 250,000 people that I can send an email and like honestly care less if I send something or not.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. Like I love, like for me, I'm a big fan of transparency. I feel like now more than ever, with so many companies and so much advertising and so many things that you don't know if you can trust or believe, or like people are, oh, I'm a 7-figure business owner, but like, you know, they net like $50,000. Like you don't know. There's like so much stuff out there. So I'm such a big fan of transparency. Like when we first launched Demio, me and Wyatt had a whole show behind the scenes of us like running Demio, like how crazy it was. We were like, literally people were running webinars and we'd be running down I remember we had this video of us running down the street in San Francisco because we had a webinar running and there was like a little error that was going on. We were freaked out and like so stressed. But like transparency gives you story, relatability, relationships. And like, I think I always talk about this in my webinar, but it's like relationships, transparency, value, trust. Those things are the core aspects of sales. And if you can build those, sales comes easy, but a lot of people just want to like have that short term, like push you to a sales page, buy my stuff. And most people want to buy from people that they trust. And it's really hard to build that without, being a little bit transparent online. I think people are kind of afraid of that. So kind of a good thing to think about for everyone.
Yeah. Another thing is I think people need to start actually thinking about their brand now. Like as direct response marketers, I used to be like, oh, that's stupid. We'll just drive traffic to that and we'll crush it. But like we know now for a fact, because we work with online influencers and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's 10x. Like whatever they say is 10 times more than if you just drive traffic. And if you are driving traffic, but they have a Facebook Live or they have something else that they can add to that, it increases so much more on like the conversions of that. And it's because these people have built influence by just giving and giving and giving and not taking, right? So that's, I think in the future here in these next few years, that's going to be enormous on personal brands and even on actual business brands as well. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And I would love to just give a shout out to Karen, who just said in the chat, how do you get good at webinars? Just do them. And I think that's not just for webinars. I think that's for anything in business. I mean, you need to just do things. Like there's no, like your story has really said, like, don't overthink things. Just take the action. You just took action. And as you took action, you learned and kind of grew in your story. Like that's kind of how you built your businesses and to where you are now. But I think that's really amazing. Yeah. So let me just look at this chat, guys, because we're going to agree, carry, and relax. People want to know what you know. That's absolutely true. Like a lot of people think that like me and Los are like live here with you guys. We're reading your chats. I'm trying to reply to chat at the same time as talking to Los. So that's a little bit hard, but like we're just here live having a conversation with you guys. We're doing this for you guys just to give value. There's no stress here. We're not like any different than any of you guys. We're all together on this entrepreneurial journey. We're all entrepreneurs. We're business owners, marketers, whoever we are. We're just here and we're doing something great in the world and we're all on this journey. So there really is no stress. But when you're on a webinar, yeah, I guess you're in the position of you're presenting content. But you have the power to, like Karen said, to practice. Often when I make a webinar, I'll do it by myself and I'll practice it and I'll record it and then I'll listen to myself and be like, okay, I went too fast here. I need to add some more interaction or engagement here. So that's the cool thing is like you're choreographing these webinars. You're writing the content. It's not like you're on stage and you're coming up with this from scratch. I used to have to go do sales calls and that was literally just like you're just answering objections back and forth. And that's always tougher than just kind of reading through a presentation. But it's also, when you're doing webinars, what a trick that works really well, I think, is just start with interaction, right? Like when you get, let's say you can get 100 people on that presentation and you, instead of starting like, hey, here's me, this is my story, this is what I'm going to talk to you about, just open up and like break the ice. Like, hey guys, what are you struggling with? This presentation is about XYZ, but I want to know, what do you think about this? And then you're going to start getting those answers. And then you can kind of start there like, all right, well, this has happened to me, and then you kind of like start easing into your own story or into something that can help them. It doesn't need to be 96 slides that do this and then put you on a pitch. Like people buy people, right? So you're a lot of times you're not even buying the product. You're buying the fact that you like me and you feel like I can help you, and the product is like a part of that. Right. So the majority of people that buy software, they don't use software. The majority of people that buy courses, they don't use the courses. They buy the relationship and the experience and how they feel that product is going to transform their lives, whether they use it or not.
Mm-hmm. That's totally true. That's absolutely true. And it's funny. I did a webinar last week and I had my slides up, my huge slide deck, and I was like, I just wanted to do something different. So instead, I just literally talked to everyone that was on the call. And I just asked them about what they're doing in their business, their problems we went through. And I think, that was one of my best presentations because we just literally had conversations the entire time and just really made it personal the entire time and made sales on the webinar, multiple $100 sales on the webinar just from those conversations because we built relationships. And that's really all it is. So That's really amazing, man. So let me ask one last question to you, and then we're going to do Q&A with everybody here. What would you say is one thing that you're excited about maybe in 2017 that could help people that are just kind of getting started or doing webinars or doing online marketing, anything like that?
So I think something that I'm excited about this year that we're doing, and I think it, like I said, it's kind of like the big topic that I want to kind of push forward is content. We're excited about making content, video specifically. If you're afraid of video, you can do it on podcast form. If you don't like that, you can write. It doesn't matter. I would do all of them right now. I would just focus if I were anybody just starting out or kind of in the middle. One of the big things that I never did that I regret, and now I'm trying to make up for it, is just an aggressive amount of content, because it compounds. If you have content from here, another year it goes here, another year it's here, and then there, and then there, and then people just know who you are. I know I have way too many friends now that have done this for like 6-7 years, don't even run traffic, and they get an influx of everything because they've given so much and they've been a perceived authority for so many years. I really encourage people to just have no fear and execute on that.
Would you say the best, like from your experience, is to have your own blog and put content on your own blog and like drive traffic to it? Or do you think it's more like you want to go out there and do guest posting and podcasting and webinars? Like, how do you see that content distribution happening?
So I think that the biggest thing is you just need to get content out. If you are able to write for publications and stuff like that, you should probably start there. That said, when you write for a lot of publications, no one actually goes down and it's like, oh, Los and David wrote this. Like, that's cool. I'm going to link out. It's a lot harder to get that done. So you're still going to always want to build out your own property, whether it's just a YouTube channel or just a podcasting thing or just a blog. I think you need that in the long run.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think going back to Karen's point that she made in the chat, even with content or videos or whatever you're doing, like you want to get good at it, you just do it every single day. Like just write an article. Yeah, maybe your first article is bad. And I'm in this like founder group, and it's just a bunch of entrepreneurs, and I think it's just Founder is a company. And this person said that it took her 2 months to get her first article out on her blog, because she kept going back to it. She finally felt it was perfect and she released it. And I wrote this long post. I'm like, why did it take you 2 months to get it out? Like, perfectionism is the enemy to action. And you should just write it, edit it, get it out. Okay, it may not be perfect, but your next one will be better. And the next one will be better. And the next one will be better. Just keep writing. The more content you get out there, like the post, I just wrote this post on Influencive. Thank you, Los, for connecting me to them. And I came up with a topic and I wrote it in about 2 hours. And I said, well, I could sit here and edit this all day, or I can just get this out. And I've already got almost 200 shares on it. It's one of the top articles for the week. I think it's one below Los's. Thanks, Los. And and it's just like it's driven a bunch of traffic to us. So it's like I could have taken action, taken 2 months to write that, or just overthought it, but I took action on it. So just a big takeaway for all you guys.
Yeah, I think too many people spend time doing the wrong things. Too many people spend time buying courses and like studying the course, but they don't implement what's in the course. Or too many people read 100 blogs, but they don't implement what's in the blogs. Like, all that stuff doesn't even matter at some point, because you could be reading the most coolest article that says this, that, the other. But if you're not doing this yourself, maybe that doesn't even apply to you yet. Maybe you're not even there. That's a big problem with a lot of the internet marketing, specifically like the make money online and marketing kind of like niche. Like, they spend all their time consuming, they feel like they know it all, but they've never done it. And so they hit you with like, oh, but this won't work. And I'm like, oh, cool. How much money have you spent on ads with that? Well, I've not done that, but blah, blah, blah. It's like, shut up and do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Action trumps everything. And it's like, people there's so much information overload online right now. It's so easy to just read everything and absorb it, but you're not actually taking, like you said, you're not taking action on it, so it doesn't matter. Like, you could read 1,000 books, but if you're not actually implementing or learning from the books, like, you've basically wasted time, because it's just wasted knowledge that you're not implementing. So it'd probably be better in some cases to read one article, actually implement it, learn it, than 100 articles and not do anything.
Exactly.
So there's like a kind of a balance there you're gonna have to really work through. So cool, guys. Let's go ahead. We'll switch over to questions and answers. So I would love you guys put in questions, whether it's about my journey, Los's journey, content, You can ask Demio questions, but this isn't really Demio specific. So maybe some of those I might just reply directly in the chat column here directly. So we're just going to scroll up, and Los, if you see some, just grab them. Karen asked, I've used eZine articles for years, and they really help me get your message out. Great Google SEO tool. Yeah, eZine is always good. Steve, how do you recommend making that amount of content, writing it yourself, hiring it out? I'll ask you that.
I would do both. So I would make my own. What I do right now is I create content on video by doing stuff like this. We are actually doing a little thing that's kind of similar, where basically we're just talking about, like, me and my two partners are talking about what happened with the week, the agency. It's just kind of like documenting what our week was and putting it out as like a story. You may learn something, you may not. It 100% could be entertainment. I don't know. And I don't know if people are going to love it or not, but I'm going to throw it out and see what happens. Then we also write content. Then we also pay. We have a content team here, so like I pay the content team to just create content, because I don't like writing really long pieces of content, but I can speak it. There's an app called Dropbox with a V instead of a B, and basically you just grab your phone, you record into it, you speak your stuff, it can send it out. It makes it a podcast if you have that, or a piece of audio, and then you can get that transcribed or kind of like written by someone else, and it's an easy system. You got to start implementing systems if you're going to do this content stuff, so it's not overwhelming and it's not something that kind of like stresses you out.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. I mean, obviously I'm a big system and automation guy myself, so I definitely get that. But I also understand, like, we as business owners, we have so much going on in the day, and sometimes it's hard to put time into those systems. So people are asking, like, what content outlets do you like to use? So
I write for a few publications, and if you can't do that, there's a huge site called Medium. You can kind of create your own blog in there, just medium.com. And then as far as like distribution, it's always going to go Facebook ads and YouTube. That's kind of like our main thing. And because I started stuff on LinkedIn a long time ago, I have like 40,000 people that follow me on LinkedIn, so I get pretty good distribution through that. So those are kind of like my focuses. And there's LinkedIn groups and stuff like that. So I always just try to see, like, if it's written, I go to LinkedIn and stuff like that. If it's video or it's audio, I'm going to boost it through Facebook or through any other kind of social, kind of like Pinterest if it's graphics or stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a tough question because it depends on the content type. Like slide shares and LinkedIn, that has like millions and millions of people in there. So you can do like slide decks in there. Depends on the content. Like blogs are obviously great for guest posting. Facebook, or like Facebook, posting it on Facebook page and then boosting it and stuff like that. Like you said, it's a great place. But again, it depends on your content, your audience.
Something I would do if I was kind of getting started, and I've actually thought about starting this year and just doing it, is making a webinar a week and having like no aggressive intention of like selling anything crazy. I mean, if we don't even have a course right now for sale. We just kind of do consulting, and then we have our publishing people, but just kind of build rapport, spend on our end, spend enough money to get like 200-300 people there at a time and just give them value, and then put them through an email sequence that gives them value and just does that. If you can afford to do that, or if you have the time and you're okay with like kind of playing the long game, I'm sure that'll actually crush for you. And if you have an offer, I mean, if you can make an offer every week, right? So you're building your tribe and you're making money at the same time.
Yeah, that's really great advice. Really great advice. All right, I'm going to scroll through here, guys. Kelly, perfection is the enemy of action. Can I quote you? You can quote me. I don't know if I took that from someone else, but you can absolutely quote that to David Abrams. What are several okay, we already did those ones. Cool. Social media platform do you use to buy ads on? Definitely Facebook for me is my number one. I love Facebook because the targeting and ability to get that stuff out quickly. What about you, Los?
Same. 100%.
Yeah. Alessandra, what happens to get people on them if you don't have an email list? Well, there's a couple ways to do it then. You're going to have to find either a partner, some type of traffic source that has either an email list that you can work with. Obviously, you want to have some numbers on that webinar or understand how your product's going to do. So what do you do when you have no traffic? Well, you're going to have to either buy it or you're going to have to have content that organically gets people there. So you can do advertising. Facebook advertising is a really powerful way to get people to a registration page, on organic content, and then linking people to a webinar is exactly what Los was just talking about, kind of building his list through that.
So another thing you can do if you have like $0 is you can go put a bunch of content on LinkedIn and then go to your group section, and you can join groups that are relative to what you're offering, and go in the section. Basically, there's a section where you can find out who the group owner is. Talk with the group owner. Don't pitch anything. Just be like, hey, I've got this product on, how to understand airplanes better, or whatever it is that you're doing, right? I'd love to do a presentation for you guys, 100% free. I have nothing to sell. I have nothing. I really like this group. It's helped me a lot. I want to help people. There's a 95% chance this person's going to go, yeah, that's fine. And when they send an email, they send it to everyone. So if you have a group that says it's sending it out to like 25,000 people, not only is it going into the LinkedIn, but it also sends you an email on your social tab on Google that you're having this. So you can inbox a lot, and you can start growing traffic and growing a list that way pretty easily, and it's free.
That's a really cool strategy. I had never even heard that one before. That's really awesome. Cool. People are asking, yes, Steve already got it. Drop Vox with a V. That's perfect. What was the platform you mentioned for article writing?
eZine articles. We don't get stuff written in that. We have an actual content team here, but eZine articles works really, really well for people that are kind of getting started.
Cool, perfect. Let me scroll back up through here. There's a lot of this stuff. Susan asked, will there be a recording of this? There will be a recording, absolutely. You guys already see in the chat, I already talked about the avatar, so I won't really go into that. You guys already know. So the avatar is, the basic understanding of your customer, and you can do it really, really in depth. Most people are very bland and vague when they create their avatar, and that's actually a really big problem.
We have an avatar worksheet because we actually just did this for someone. So I can send that over to David, and you guys can just fill that out.
Sure. We have one too, so we'll send you guys both of them.
Yeah, perfect.
People asked about the webcams. So my webcam is just my iMac built-in webcam.
Same.
Do you have yeah.
That's it.
And then I got this. This is my microphone. So this is a blue Snowball Ice. So this was about $49 of a microphone. And I just hook it up, and I think you just have headphones.
I just have headphones right now. I can't find my mic. But it
sounds good.
It's the same. It's a Yeti mic. Same people that make the blue Snowball.
Yeah. The Yeti is like, I think the Snowball is, for those of you who are listening, is like $50, and the Yeti is like $100 or $200. Yeah. But both very nice.
Yeah.
Karen, cool. I'll make sure to get a replay out to everyone that signed up for this list. So just so you guys know, make sure you recommend this to people to come sign up. We'll do this every week. But when you sign up for these every week, I'll send an invite to the list. Whenever you sign up, I'll send an invite to you every week to invite you to the next one, because next week we're going to have another great guest. So sign up, and I'll make sure that we get out the replay and any bonuses and stuff that we talk about. And I'll make sure we post these on the blog as well so everyone can see them. And I'll link out to like Los's stuff and all that kind of cool stuff. What do you guys think of having different price points on a product? In my case, I run an online drum school that I'm selling at 6 weekly lessons at $127, 10 weeks at $497, and $1,200 for 1 year with a 50% affiliate commission. Haven't done a live webinar yet, only automated with one sale at $1,200. What are you asking? Like, what is it on one product? I don't think that's a problem, but you have to make sure that you're like explaining that in a clear, concise way, because that can be really confusing for people.
Yeah, I would probably start it off, if I were you, at 2 price points. You don't want to give people too many options. And then when you're done with that sequence, maybe implement the last one. So I would do like the $1,200 one, because you obviously make the most amount of money. Then the $497 one for 10 weeks. And if it doesn't work, you can just do $497. I would send an email saying, hey guys, so here's, if you want to do the $1,200 one for payments, and it's $97 a month for 12 months or 12 weeks, whatever the case.
One thing that's really helpful when you think about these things is just having one other price point along with it. Like, you guys can get 10 weeks at $497 or a full year at $1,200. What that does is what's called like pricing comparison, right? So all of a sudden in the buyer mindset, it's okay, 10 weeks at $500, or like, how many weeks are in a year? I don't even know. I'm going to sound really stupid here, but a full year, 52 weeks for only like basically 2.5 times more. So like there is a really nice comparison that they feel the savings. They get to see visually the savings for the 1 year. If you just say 1 year at $1,200, then there's no pricing comparison. That's just your set price. That's just what you cost. So a lot of times you'll see the different price points just become kind of the comparison there. So you get to see the savings, and you can actually even publicize. So look, you'll save X amount of dollars just by joining the bigger package. And again, visual representation with the pricing numbers, have it crossed out, all that stuff. Think about consumer brands. When you go in the store and you see that the racks with, this is the discounted items, you're saving this much. Those are all visual cues of pricing comparisons. They're showing you the savings that you're getting. That will help even on a webinar and when you're selling any product.
Yeah, totally agreed.
Let me see, I'm ready to do this. Yeah, 2 different price points instead of a class duration. Christopher, that's a really good idea. I like that.
So guys, why don't you type in the chat box? I'd love to know, like, what's been your biggest hurdle so far in the first month of the year? What are you struggling with specifically right now?
And while you're doing that, Lorraine is saying, slideshows aren't as important as building a following. I have an email list of 500 people, but haven't done a webinar yet, but have great content. So yeah, why not just like set up some free times from free training? You don't even need to sell anything. Just get on with them and talk to them. Talk about their problems. If out of that 500 person list, you can get 10 to 50 people to really like you and dial in, and those 10 to 50 people turn around and buy your next product, I mean, from an email, just because you took the time to talk to them, that's huge, right? That's a 10%. If you get 50 people, that's 10% conversion out of your list. That's huge. That'd be amazing. In my other brand, I would just get on webinars and talk to people, and literally those are the same people I send an email out. They instantly reply to me like it's a personal conversation, and they've literally probably bought every product I have. Like they just like me, like you built that conversation with them. So Lior says churn has been one of his biggest issues this year. Maybe you've done some SaaS stuff. Maybe you can talk about churn. I can talk about churn.
Yeah. So with churn, I mean, if you don't want to get technical, like there's tools that can help you kind of like starting to figure that kind of stuff out. But really it kind of just goes back to like, is this customer the right customer? Are you using the tool? Are you making sure they're using the tool? Is there an onboarding sequence that when I first buy this tool, you're helping me get to X, right? So like you're helping me make my first webinar and then get it live. Once probably I do that, I know that I'm going to have success with my platform, something like Demio, right? Or can you get like my first social media post if you're that kind of a software? Like make them take an action and make them move forward. If you can do that, you can really start to get people like embedded into the tool, and that'll help with churn a ton.
Yeah, so Lior, I know Lior. Lior has a really cool tool called Scope Leads. Shout out for you. And churn can happen on a variety of things. It's on any continuity item. Churn is when someone basically cancels or stops buying, right? They're churning out of your product. So one of the big numbers that you need as an entrepreneur is to know your churn percentage, or even like your lifetime customer value, which is related to churn. That helps you create your return on investment from advertising, all that kind of stuff. This is advanced stuff, but churn is really important. So for us, it was really important to know like Los was saying, what is that key thing? And for us, we realized that the simplicity of running a webinar was actually our key item to having people stay in. So if you can run a webinar, we're in a good position. So our initial onboarding, if all of you guys that are Demio customers will know, is to get up and set up your test webinar. Get your first webinar in so you can see how easy it is to set up, so you can feel the experience. But the same thing to say, Lior, on top of that is, you definitely need to listen. Like for all of our cancellations, we ask questions like why, what's wrong? We want to learn what the product objections are. We want to learn where there any problems are, and we're constantly working to fix those. We always have to try to stay ahead of churn. So it's creating better products there. And you want to really, feature creep, totally, I understand, Lior, but you have to take that for each one as what is the most important thing that I'm taking out of it. If it's a little individual features, you're not going to please everyone for a variety of times. So some churn is going to be acceptable at the early stages. What you need to know is is there a way that you can fill whatever gaps are being missed? Is there one thing that you can do? Is there more training that you can do? You just got to figure that out. And I mean, it's business, man. It's not easy to figure these things out. There's other tools that come on the market, and that's kind of your job that's never going to end, is to figure out that churn rate.
Yeah. So I'm trying to look at other questions here.
Leah is saying, should I stop marketing until product is fixed? Plug the holes? Absolutely not, because sales cure everything.
Yeah. Just keep marketing, keep adding things, put things on the pipeline, let people know, have an email sequence that lets people know. If you already know what people want as far as like upcoming features, let them know, hey, by this date, we have this planned. In the meantime, this is how you can maximize the tool with these 3 steps. And just kind of, it goes back, like at the end of the day, everything kind of goes back to content. Are you helping people through the sequence that they're going through in your tool or in their journey as just customers in general?
Yeah, that's such a good point. That's absolutely such a good point. And I think keeping constant updates and communication so people know that the tool is growing, your membership site's growing, and you're listening to objections, you're creating so much more than just here's a software, have fun.
Exactly.
So, guys, what other things are you having problems with here in 2017 that we can help you with?
Mark is having a hard time with content. Just no time to create it. Mark, if you really want to create content, like straight up, go buy content, right? Like go buy somebody, go get a freelancer, go to Upwork, go to these places and have someone create the content that you like. Find 10 articles that you like, write some different notes on it, and then send it out to someone to write it for you. If you don't have time for that, then, I mean, where are you spending your time? You might be misusing a lot of the time that you're spending.
Yeah, that's such a big thing. And I mean, I think as a CEO, as a founder, time is like the only thing that you really do have. Like your time is almost like worth really nothing if you really think about it. Like you have to be the one that hustles the most. So I put in my schedule time for writing. Like I'm so busy, but I have to, like, whether it's waking up earlier or staying up later, whatever it is, like you have to find some of that time to get in there and do some of this stuff. It's just kind of, that's where you are until you can afford to pay for it. Leo is wondering the best channels to market SaaS.
I think it depends what kind of tool you have, right? I mean, if it's a B2B, LinkedIn would be really good. SlideShare can get you a ton of leads. Specific blogs, I think instead of focusing on the best channel, what's the best strategy, right? Like I would spend some money on a case study, like a case study on how we helped something happen and produced X result, right? Like people don't want to just see content anymore. All the stuff that we're creating now is either entertainment, like stuff like this, just conversational, talking because you want to honestly like use this as entertainment, or case studies. Like this is what we did. This is how we did it. We can do this for you, or we can help you if you take this action, right? That's it. I don't want to spend my time wasted on just like some random article, like some listicle, like the top 15 things you should do if you're bored. Like it's kind of a waste, right? Deep down, what people want to see. You're just not creating it. And I think it goes down to like all of us do the same thing. Like I know what can double my business. Sometimes I'm just not doing that. I'm focused on some other stuff, or I'm just like being straight up lazy, right? Like, yeah. So you just have to be honest with yourself. Like, are you putting in those kinds of hours, or are you focused on the wrong things? It goes back to like, are you studying like for 6 hours on like a new course, or are you writing 6 hours of stuff and seeing where it can go? It might not go anywhere, but the journey is a long one. So you're just going to have to do it and suck it up at the end of the day. I know it's not like the coolest answer ever, but shit's tough. You can't build a business without like eating some poo.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And it's like, it's a grind. It's definitely a grind every day. And I just read 7 Habits of an Effective Leader, and he talks about like the different quadrants of how you spend your time and energy. And it's funny that we put our time in a lot into like the emergency categories, or into like, like the nice to have category, like nice, it's easy to do stuff, but the real category should be in like real strategy, long-term thinking, working hard, like, I don't know, the things that really matter. And I think you were just kind of talking about that, especially, to answer Leo, I think, again, it's really dependent on the strategy, your target market, all that kind of stuff. And it's just funny that we can easily put ourselves in this mindset of like keeping ourselves busy instead of doing real strategic things that are actually growing our business. And we're not honest with ourselves. Like we're like, I'm so busy, I don't have time for this.
It's such a lie. Like not last year, but basically 2 years ago, I had that problem. Like the team was all slammed and busy and we were staying late till like 8 o'clock at night. Like we were just bullshitting, like real talk. Like there wasn't really anything aggressive that we needed to do. Now we get our work done in half the time and we leave. Like we don't just stay around because it's like cool to work. Like it doesn't make sense. Like we know what we need to do. We go do that for the week and then we leave. Like, or we can get ahead, but that you know what you need to do. Like Alessandro's asking, how do I grow my list? If I don't have anyone, we just gave you four things. And instead of saying, hey, you're not paying attention, you're just viewing this. Like the way you do it is you go and spend some money on Facebook Live. If you don't have that, write content on LinkedIn, write content on Medium. If you can't do those things, go get a job and do this as a side hustle, because it's going to take time, effort, or money to do these things.
That's the truth. I mean, this is not easy, and business isn't for everyone. I mean, like you said, there's going to be a lot of tough times. Alessandro, all of us started from zero. I'm sure most of the people on here started from zero. I started from zero. Los, you started from zero.
Multiple.
I mean, I had no list. I had multiple times, exactly. And you can't be a wimp and be an entrepreneur.
That's right.
Karen's absolutely right. Like it is. Some nights you're going to bed so stressed that you can't even like sleep. You know, some days you feel on top of the world. It's going to be a hard journey, but like Los just said, man, I mean, we're giving you strategies right here that you can do, but you got to take the action. Like we're not going to be able to, we can't push you to do it. You're going to have to take the time yourself. So it's run Facebook ads. And I think getting a job, like so many entrepreneurs are like, I don't want to get a job. I'm an entrepreneur. Having a job and some financial income that you can use money to help you like learn what's working is such a good base, because when you first start out and you don't have any money and you can't pay for your house and like you can't pay for your bills, yeah, you will be stressed beyond belief, because if everything fails and you're spending money, you will like be so scared to ever spend anything. And then all of a sudden you're going to be in this mindset of like, I can't do anything. I'm trapped because I have no money. So maybe you get a job. I mean, what's the worst? You get a job for 6 months as you build things up, you know?
The reality
but don't
is money fixes things. As much as people are like, money doesn't buy you happiness. Sure it does. If you have no money and then you have money, you are less stressed. You can make better decisions. And if sometimes having money means I got to go get a 9 to 5 and work from 7 to 12, that's what you have to do, because now you don't have stress, and this is a side thing that you can help grow in your spare time, and you're not like freaking out, right? Like I said 10 years ago, if I would have been able to get a job, I would have got a job, because that's what I needed to do. I would have done stuff on the side. I just didn't get. I sucked at getting one. Like it was not a skill. So I was like, I'm just going to go dive in 12 hours into something until it comes out.
Yeah. I think really, truly, entrepreneurs is like, you do whatever it takes. You do whatever it takes because you're looking at the long game. And I think someone just right here, the long game, right? So you're playing for becoming a better person. Who do you want to be? What's the business you want to grow to? And you don't just like start in business day one and the next day you're at $100,000 a year business. You're taking steps to get there. Yeah, and Derek, having a job may be a drag, but not having a job and having an established income stream and trying to pay for ads, Facebook, etc. is stressful and sucks. Keep your base until you get off the ground. Derek, that's amazing advice. And just remember, you do whatever it takes. You just learn. You take it day by day, continual learning. Don't put your ego in check. Like even the best business people in the world are still learning every single day. So there is no end to learning. There is no end to the hustle. And if this game isn't for you, then, that's not the end of the world. I mean, I feel like right now, like the entrepreneur is like, even for the younger generation, it's kind of a cool thing. But I mean, it's tough. Everyone here knows it's tough.
Exactly.
Marco, you just asked about automated webinars. Just to, this isn't really a Demio specific kind of questionnaire thing, but we do have our Live replays coming out in about 3 weeks. This is basically if we were doing this webinar and I had like handouts and like resources, called actions and stuff coming, or all the chat, basically this is all going to be saved. And with one click, you can launch it like live. So then you can send on-demand replays out now. So it's about 3 weeks out. We call them like live replays. They're really freaking cool, really cool automation with it. So you're going to love it. Be out soon. Susan, that's amazing. Exactly. You have a goal. You have a goal to get there. And you just kind of work through it. And it's absolutely true. And so all we're doing today is we're talking about, Los's story, how he got there. We're talking about the ups and downs that he had, his strategies. And we're talking about webinars. Webinars is just a marketing and sales system that you can use to build your list, grow, grow the relationships with your list, turn them into sales. So it's just a tool. But at the end of the day, like we said, 90% of this is going to be mindset. Do you have what it takes to get there? Do you have what it takes to push through?
Awesome, Karen.
Yeah. Karen's amazing, by the way. If you guys don't know, Karen has done like literally 50 webinars already on here. She did like a live show, absolute straight hustler, and excited to have you, 80 plus webinars, I should say, already, and only been with us for about 2 months. So,
that's awesome.
Hats off to her. But cool, guys, it has been about an hour, so we will wrap up. Does anyone have any last questions for us? You have Los live. Los is an amazing guy, so definitely ask while you have him. We'll see. We'll see if any questions.
I think we are.
Yeah, how can you connect with Los? How can we connect with you, bro? Where's your Facebook?
So I don't have a Facebook, but if you want to say hi, I'm on Snapchat a lot, and my email is just workwithlos@gmail.
Email him, I guess.
Yeah, email is probably the easiest way.
Twitter a lot.
I'll put my email in here.
Just put it in chat. But yeah, guys, every week on Tuesdays, I'm going to try to run the show on Tuesdays. We might switch it to Wednesdays. I'm going to try different times to get people, because we had a lot of complaints. People in like Australia and stuff couldn't make it. But we want all of you guys to come out. This show is just a live community call. Invite people that you think would be good for these calls. There's no pitch, just pure training, pure questions. And each week we'll have a lot of fun on here. So I just want to thank all of you guys for taking an hour and coming out. I know it's been a good hour. So I really appreciate all you guys. I'll make sure to get this on the blog, a replay out. And again, every week, just because you're on the list, I'll email you guys for the next week. You guys have to sign up every week. So thank you guys all so much. I will see you guys all very soon.
See you guys.
Bye-bye, guys. I should probably stop the webinar. Later, guys.